Sleeve or bypass? That is the question. And it might be something that you're really struggling to decide. And I know that I personally considered both options before finally settling on having a sleeve. And people ask me a lot why I chose a sleeve over a bypass. They're both great options, but they're very different, and it's worth taking the time to consider which one is actually going to be best for you long term. So you may be a better bypass patient if you suffer with acid reflux or GERD, because having a sleeve increases the risk of that, increases the chances that you may develop acid reflux and GERD. So if you already have that, it's probably a better option to go for the bypass. A bypass may also be recommended if your BMI is extremely elevated, because it is a more invasive tool and therefore more effective. But of course, because it's more effective, there are maybe more risks. And when I say that, I'm talking about long-term issues such as issues with absorption or nutritional deficiencies. They're much more common in bypass patients, as is our good friend dumping syndrome. But there are benefits to a bypass as well. Many people find that they can't tolerate sugar after a bypass, or at least not very much of it. So it sort of forces them to stay away from some of the sweet junk food that maybe would have been an issue for them before. Now, this is not the case with everybody with a sleeve. This is just my case, but I can tolerate sugar absolutely fine. And I suppose for some people that could be a blessing. And for others, it might be a bit of a curse, because if you can't tolerate it, then the temptation isn't there, because you know you'll be sick. The reason I chose the sleeve is because it is a bit less invasive than bypass, and you're less likely to have long-term issues other than GERD or reflux. And funny enough, I did get a lot of indigestion before I had the sleeve. However, I actually think that boiled down to the types of food I was eating, because I very rarely get it now. In fact, I actually can't remember the last time I had indigestion. The other reason I chose sleeve is because was 32 at the time of my operation. I'm now 33. And I've got my whole rest of my life to live with this tool. And if I ever have a complication or potentially regain, I mean, it does happen, I can always change my sleeve to a bypass if I need help again in the future. If I'd have gone straight to bypass, I wouldn't really have that option. Yes, you can get your pouch tightened again, but it's not quite the same. And to be honest, I just personally wanted the minimum possible invasion with the best outcome. And for me, that was sleeve, based on the numbers and based on, studies on previous patients. Now, usually when you're over 300 pounds, that's when they would start to offer the bypass. I was 327, so I was still at the sort of lighter end of where you would start to be maybe offered a bypass. Again, I don't speak for everyone. I only speak from my own experience, the consultants and doctors that I spoke to. So yeah, that's why I chose a sleeve. And that's a few of the differences between sleeve and bypass. There is a lot more to this than I could fit into 3 minutes. So if you've got any further questions, please leave them in the comments. And as always, I hope this helps.